to Greyduck Customs, and we are working on the race car project. This has been a pretty interesting repair process. I'll give you a quick little walkthrough of what we've done. Got a front fender, front splitter, strut cover, all sorts of bits, and basically this car is in a light accident at the track, so a number of things were broken and damaged. This particular area was completely gone, so we've reconstructed that, made it out of carbon fiber, and put a little coat of primer on it. This is going to get a new vinyl wrap job and a new livery, so we don't need it to be perfect, but we want it to look good. Some of the key aspects that we repaired here were, hold on, let me turn on a headlamp for you guys. There we go. This bottom corner was basically missing, so that was reconstructed and reinforced, beefed up. You can see that there's a brake duct here that was also damaged in the crash, so that's been tuned up and repaired. So coming along the top here, this whole area right here was basically missing and gone. So we had to take all the broken bits, basically put it together, and then figure out a good way to mount everything. Kind of on the inside panel here, you can see a lot of the backside repair area. Pretty fancy, huh? This is pre-preg carbon fiber. Pretty cool stuff. Had a lot of repair around the flange mount area there. So yeah, good time, real good time. We've had a number of bits from this car that have been through the ringer that we've kind of tuned back up. I'll show you a quick little side pod here. This goes behind this fender area. So this was in about 1 million bits as well. So this has been completely reworked, reshaped, new coat of primer on it, and should be ready for some vinyl graphics and hit the racetrack very soon. So yeah, it's been a fun process around here. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, but we are getting close to this race car getting back on the racetrack. So like I said, a little bit of vinyl wrap, a few nuts and bolts here and there, and we should be good to go. So what we're going to be doing today is starting to work on the rear wing, I guess is what we're going to call it. This wing is not like the kind of wing that you would have on your Honda Civic or, you know, even Ford Mustang or anything like that. Check that out on the inside. All that car structure there is structural member for this wing. It actually mounts, try to flip this over, it actually mounts upside down. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Hold on a second. I gotta think about how this mounts. So it does mount like this, because this is the gurney flap here, right? So this is definitely mounted correctly, but it actually has a wing mount that comes down and mounts it. So, and then also there's these end plates, which are CNC aluminum, and these end up bonding into the side plates like so. So that's what we're going to be doing today. This isn't going to be a very long live. It's going to be a fairly short, pretty easy cheesy one. How you doing? Happy Friday, my friend. So what I'm going to be using for this is Big Dog adhesives. This is a methyl methacrylate adhesive. There you go. Methyl methacrylate adhesive. It's very similar to 3M's structural panel bonding adhesive. This is another product I use a lot. This particular product has about 1.5 hours for an open time and then a 4-hour clamp time. So if we don't care about time, we use that. The methyl methacrylate adhesives do a really good job of bonding to aluminum. and different structures. So if you've got aluminum or steel that you're bonding to fiberglass or carbon fiber, I would go with the methyl methacrylate over a 3M panel bond. This comes in either clear or black, so feel free to get whatever one you want to get. And what I'm basically going to do is take this applicator nozzle and squeeze a bunch of juice inside there, and we are going to stick our end plates back on the side. Another area that we're going to need to repair down the road here is our mount tab surface here. And the mount tab surface basically got broken in the little crash that we had here. So we're going to need to put that back in location. And once that is set to rock and roll, we're going to reinforce that with some carbon plate on the outside, using some bonding adhesive for that as well. And hopefully that should be ready to rock and roll fairly easily. There is a small hole here. I don't know what hit this. It could have been from a rock. It could have been from other aspects of the damage. I don't know, but we're going to take a quick mold of the front radius here and make basically a cover panel that's going to kind of line right up there. I'm going to have to make really, really sure that we keep the fabric orientation the right way so it looks all pretty once we're done. But yeah, so like I said, this isn't going to be a super long video. It's just kind of a hello, how you guys doing? Happy Friday kind of session. So let's get ready for the action. This MMA that I'm using has about a 30-minute work life, so I've got plenty of time to kind of eyeball this up, get it test fit. I'm going to throw a product spotlight out real quick before I go any further. This is a LED headlamp made by Scan Grip. I've had this for a while. Scan Grip lighting. These go for about 75 bucks. The really, really nice thing about this is it's not, instead of having like a round circle, like a dot, this actually has more of a football pattern. So it's a really wide oval, really, really wide view. The other kind of cool thing about this is it's got a motion sensor, so you can turn it on and off. If I activate the motion sensor, where is the motion sensor? There it is. My motion sensor might not work right now. It might be covered in too much stuff. Oh well. Motion sensor's not working right now. That's all good. But Scan Grip Lighting makes these. They are fantastic headlamps when you're doing repair work or anything in the shop. You need good light, and this is the ticket. So how I'm going to start this is basically I'm going to just kind of eyeball this up to see where I want to glue, where I don't want to glue. One thing that I should mention here is I did use our right angle grinder, and I went through and I prepped up the inside surface. So you can see the back side of this aluminum is very, very ground up. That was with 36 grit. You need good adhesion whenever you're using bonding adhesives. So, and then I also went inside there and scuffed up that perimeter. So that's something that you really want to keep in the back of your head when you're doing any carbon fiber repair or any bonding repair in general. Set that there for a minute. Make sure you prep your surface. Very, very, very key. So what I like to do with bonding adhesives is I will keep a scrap notebook or something around, and the first little bit that comes out of the tube, you're going to want to just discard. You want to make sure that your product is mixed very, very, very thoroughly in the tubes. Hello, everybody in the chat. Happy Friday. So you want to make sure that the product is mixed very thoroughly in the tube, and so I always just discard the first little bit. Like so. These do use a special applicator gun, so if you're going to go panel bonding adhesive shopping, you want to make sure that you get the proper gun for whatever adhesive you're going to use. I think I'm going to prop this up just a little bit. Something like so. give you a little bit better view of what the action's going on here. So I'm going to take our applicator gun and I'm going to squeeze this back as far as I possibly can, because I want there to be a lot of surface contact on this. And then we're going to go around the perimeter just a little bit. Like so. We want to try to lock this in as best we can. There's not going to be a whole lot of load on this particular area, and I'm not super concerned about it going anywhere because it's going to be sandwiched in there pretty well, but we want to get as much material on there as we possibly can. Flip that over. Let's do the bottom side now. And same kind of principle. I'm going to add extra material in our front and rear corners just to kind of help it bite a little bit. Run our adhesive along the whole strip there. Like so. And then this should be as simple as just dropping this right in. The shape was pretty close. There's a little bit of room for wiggle, for error and wiggle room in there. There we go. Beautiful, huh? Okay, let's see if I got the right side here. So, yep, this is our correct side. And I am literally going to just drop this in location. I want to make sure that I'm paying close attention to where this lives. I want to make it as flush as possible with the outside edge. That's looking pretty darn good. And then what I'm going to come back and do and fill any sort of voids that might be present still. We'll just squeeze that in by hand. Kind of give it a once over on the top. And I'll just use a gloved finger to kind of make sure we squeeze that in around the outside. This is kind of stage one of this wing repair. I do need to do, like I said, some mount repair as well. And then once this is repaired, we're going to switch gears to the tail section and get the tail section repaired. But I really need to get the wing. I need to get the wing repaired before I can repair the rest of the tail section, because it is a one part, it is a multi-piece part, so everything kind of goes together based on where this wing locates. Just like so. Got a little more adhesive there, jam that in. You're never going to be able to see this, but that doesn't mean we don't want it to look a little nice. So take your time, make sure it's good to go. And then what I'm going to do coming back here, what am I fixing? Magic Man 1272. What I am fixing is a rear wing for a Le Mans prototype. This is a Ginetta G57, if I'm correct. But it's an LMP2 car that was in a little light fender bender. So we've fixed the fenders, we've fixed the front splitter, fixed a brake duct, we fixed some side pods. So yeah, it was in a nice little crash and hit the wall. And since these are not very easy cars to get parts for, you pretty much need to repair them. There's no easy source to get these parts from the aftermarket. So it is a pretty special vehicle. And they're fast. They're very, very fast. So this is, like I said, the rear wing section is what we're starting on. And After we get this fixed up, you can see there is a engine hatch cover right behind us here. So this is pretty real deal race car stuff, you know. Has a center fin down the back of it, and that side you can see has been banged up pretty good. So that's next on the list once we get our wing repaired here. So yeah, we're starting out with the end plates on the wing. Then we'll move to the rest of the tail section as soon as this is completed. What I do need to get is some tape. Yeah. Magic Man, it's you're very, very right. It's not easy stuff. I kind of opened up this video showing you the backside of what's going on here, and this is all the inside of this front fender. So a lot of the mount tabs were broken and a lot of the parts were missing. So we literally had to go bit by bit by bit and get it reconstructed again. Same thing with this side pontoon. The side pontoon was in about 1,000,000 pieces. So thankfully, the customer saved every single little last bit, and we kind of were able to, you know, start small. You know, you fix what you can line up, and then once you got that done, you can kind of bridge the gaps. And I'll show you what I mean by that real quick. I got plenty of time on this glue. So this is the rear engine hatch cover, and you can see that it's obviously been pretty destroyed, right? Like it's pretty banged up and it's in pretty rough shape. I mean, it's cracked to holy heck. And so what I basically do is take the bits that were missing and line them up. And, you know, you can see where it actually broke. So by bonding that back together, that's kind of in the same ballpark of, you know, where it once lived. And you just go piece by piece by piece by piece, little bit by little bit by little bit. So, yeah. Out of curiosity, Magic Man, if you're still here, are you Magic Man that does all the fancy glow carbon fiber and fiberglass and stuff like that I see all over the social medias? If so, I'm going to tip my hat to you, man. You do some pretty cool work. Pretty cool work. If I remember correctly, there was some glow carbon over at the SEMA show that I saw coverage of. So that's pretty dang awesome stuff. No, you're not that Magic Man, huh? Okay, well, maybe you want to check him out. He did some very cool wide body stuff that basically you put LEDs behind the panels, and you have enough gap. You know, carbon fiber by itself. I got some scrap carbon here. Carbon by itself has not a whole lot of light transfer going through it. You know, you got all the fabrics that are woven together. And so what he was doing was basically taking strands of carbon and putting them on the part and then putting light behind it so you could actually see through the panel a little bit. It was pretty cool. What I'm looking for, I am not finding right now, and I have no idea where I put it. So I'm just going to have to go with regular, good old fashioned. Oh, here it is. right in front of my face. So this is just standard HVAC aluminum tape. This is very, very, very crucial for doing repairs and custom work in the shop. I use the heavy duty stuff just because it's a little bit stronger. And you can do a number of things with this. First of all, fiberglass resin and epoxies don't stick very well to it. So you can use it as a release agent. But then secondly, now that I have this set in location where I want it, I can actually use this aluminum tape just to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And because it's a heavy-duty aluminum tape, once it sticks, it's pretty much where it's going to live, which is really, really nice. And that's just a simple Make sure we're all flush, make sure we are where we want to live, and we stick it. And I'll do this a couple different areas just to make sure that everything doesn't move once the curing cycle happens. With this panel bonding adhesive that we're using, again, shout out Big Dog Adhesives. This stuff has about a half an hour open window, and then after that, basically overnight cure, 24-hour cure. And once it starts to set, it is done. You are not moving that stuff after it goes off. Very, very, very strong. Structural adhesive has kind of been replacing certain elements of fabrication. So instead of parts being welded together, sometimes they're panel bonded together now. And because of the diverse range of substrates that you can bond together, you can bond things like aluminum and carbon fiber, or aluminum and fiberglass, or steel and fiberglass. You can bond fiberglass to fiberglass. You can pretty much bond anything to anything with the right methyl methacrylate. So a little trick of the trade there. I've been using multiple panel bonding adhesives for a number of years and had fantastic luck with them. You can really abuse the daylights out of some of this stuff. But it's way stronger than a standard epoxy resin when it comes to structural integrity. Pull just that out, just a little bit. And that is pretty darn close to where I think we're going to live. I'm going to call that side. I'm going to call that side done. I think we're good on that side. I got to flip the wing around. Be careful not to bang it into anything. We don't want to cause any more damage than what we already have, right? The parts that are glued together, will it have the original strength? Yes, it's actually bonded together like that from the factory. I'm going to take a look to see if there is any leftover residue. Nope, there is not. So these aluminum panels actually were panel bonded in from the factory, and that's how the OEM does it. So like I said, this stuff is very, very, very strong stuff. So it's not like super glue. And when it comes to tensile strength and structural integrity, it's actually stronger than the epoxy that the part is made out of. So typically what happens is your carbon fiber will break rather than the panel bonding next to it. And this, like I said, in a pretty big accident, so it hit a wall pretty hard. That's really the only reason why so much damage happened. And so for these end plates to literally come off is pretty wild. That was a pretty good hit. But you can use this stuff for sculpting as well. You can literally make a brick out of it and then sculpt panels with it as well. Grind, smooth, shape. So if you do have a custom bit that you need to repair that just doesn't exist anymore, it's a pretty versatile product. Pretty versatile product. And these tubes are, I think, like $65 right now. $70, something like that. Don't hold me to the price, but that's about where they are in terms of 2025 price. And one tube goes pretty far. Feel free to ask away for questions. When I started this channel, a lot of the stuff I wanted to do was help people learn about the composites and custom fabrication industries. I haven't done as good of a job of making those how-to videos as I said I was going to, so we're kind of getting on that coming up here very shortly. Again, we're going to do a lot of how-tos, kind of show you step-by-step processes, but I like doing things live, and I know YouTube kind of penalizes you for that. I don't get into the whole, video editing and doing this and doing that. I love doing things live and showing you guys how it's done in the real world and what happens when you're at in a shop environment and any hurdles that you need to overcome while you're doing them. So sure, I could do a lot of video editing and cutting and pasting and all that kind of fun jazz, but I like doing this live. It's fun. Showing you real time. Like I said, the tricks of the trade happen when I'm doing it live. It's really, really difficult to show people on a video and remember everything when it's staged and thought out. You lose some of that impromptu goodness that a live video has. So if I do a live and you watch it, you'll probably learn a trick or two just because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm trying to show you guys the real deal, truth of the world. If you guys are new to the channel, I do a lot of carbon fiber part manufacturing. I do some furniture stuff. I do race car repair. My other channel I have is called Project Honda Rod. I actually built a Honda powered mid-engine street rod, and it's rear engine. So as far as I know, it's the only mid-engine Honda powered hot rod in the world. And again, that's Project Honda Rod. So I don't do as much of showing you guys that car as I do about showing you jobs for other people. I am a professional fabricator, so this is kind of my hideout space. You're in the construction business, and in some very rare repairs, we use carbon fiber or fiberglass. So I've actually heard of a lot of people doing carbon fiber repair for like framing. They'll wrap carbon fiber around the joints, or they'll wrap carbon fiber in like basements. If there's like a cracked foundation, they'll use carbon fiber repair for that as well. So very, very, very versatile product. And you can get so many different resin systems. You can get resin systems that are very flexible. You can get resin systems that are very rigid. There's kind of a lot going on in the market right now. So my background is I used to do custom car stereos way back in the day. And since the car stereo days, I started doing custom auto interiors. So I've been to SEMA a number of times. My work has been featured in a number of magazines and online, publications. In fact, I'm saying magazines. Dates how long I've been doing this, but I used to do tech advice for a couple of the magazines. I've been at a number of prop effects shops, so doing large scale sculpture work, billboards, stuff like that. I've pretty much done a little bit of everything. I like to stay crafty, if you know what I mean. So I've been doing it long enough where it's time to start showing some people some skills. Yeah, and some cracks and reinforcements. Yeah, so I've watched some videos on that. It looks really valid. I don't know how long people have done that, like long term, like how does it work 10 years down the road or 20 years down the road? But it makes sense that it would work just fine. Obviously, the loads and the forces that you're dealing with should be fine in terms of the carbon fiber. One thing I have been wanting to get into recently is at a lot of these theme shops I work at, the prop and effects shop, styrofoam is king. So if you're doing a sculpture for a character, and just to not, throw trademark stuff out there, but think of, big theme park characters. I've done a lot of those over the years. And they typically start out as a steel armature with foam carved, like a like a CNC foam carved shape for the actual character itself. And then we will cover that in fiberglass, send it off to the detailers, and they'll make it all smooth, and then we'll send it to the paint department to give it the kind of final touch. Um, with all the foam carving that I've seen done, I've been seeing people that are doing custom furniture carved out of foam, and then they go and cover it with what's called microcrete. It's like a special kind of concrete mix. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but I really want to get into doing some styrofoam projects and then cover them in concrete and see what happens. So I may get into something like that. So doing wall fixtures or lighting fixtures, I have no idea. But I'll be creative. I'll come up with something cool. I gotta do my research first and figure out which microcrete is the best. Here we go. That is fantastic right there where it sits. So yeah, we've got our wing all bonded in place. And now we wait. There's absolutely nothing more that I can do on this wing right now until this stuff is cured. And if you think the front end of this car is cool, wait until you see the rear end of this car. It is really, really cool. And that's what the rear wing will be attaching to. So as soon as this is picked up and delivered, we're going to get going on the rear tail section next. And that's going to be a lot of repair, and a lot of tricks, and just a lot of, fixing broken bits like what we have going on here. So it's going to be a really, really, really fun time. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to probably hop off. I don't like to run the lives super, super long unless people are asking questions and we're actually doing something technical. I know I'm kind of a chatty Cathy when it comes to videos and trying to show you guys tips and tricks. And I very much appreciate everybody for stopping by. So I should have said that immediately, but I appreciate people watching. I appreciate the interaction. I love talking about tricks of the trade, fabrics, materials, all that kind of fun jazz. So if you guys don't have any more questions, our repair job for the night is done on this little live session, and you'll have to just stay tuned to see what we do from here. But panel bonding adhesive, Big Dog adhesives, good stuff. Take a look at them. I get my Big Dog adhesives from Express Composites out of Minneapolis. And I am local to Minneapolis. That's why I go over there and buy stuff. But this is fantastic stuff. So doggone tough stuff is what they call it, right? So without any further ado, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching stage 1 of the wing repair. And I'll be back soon. Throw some notifications on, like, share, subscribe, and yeah. Oh man, thanks a whole lot. Thank you for following and subscribing. Take a look at my shorts. My shorts are where I post most of my stuff. I've been trying to add some live videos here and there, but yeah, man. And if you're interested in more, I do go by Greyduck Customs on Instagram as well. I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Facebook, and yeah, I would love to help you out with any tricks of the trade or any questions you have. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'm an open book when it comes to tech tips and stuff like that. So feel free to use me as however you want to use me. You know what I mean? I'm a good resource for weird stuff, especially when it comes to custom fabrication stuff. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. And I'll catch you guys all later. Have yourselves a wonderful Friday night, and I'll be back soon.